Love icons, greetings, love warriors. This is Pangea Northstar coming to you from my highest timeline. Greetings, Diggy Mo from New York, Brooklyn to be exact. Guys, I'm super excited about the topic tonight. We're talking about the frequency of freedom, right? On Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve, right? Which is a very scripted time of the year. Very scripted and regimented time of the year. What's expected of you at this time of the year is very clear, right? So it's important that we're talking about the frequency of freedom at this time of year. Greetings, Dabney. Greetings, Jet. Greetings, greetings. How are you all this evening? Greetings, Blue Lotus. Thank you all for your support this evening. Thanks for being here. We're talking about the frequency rather of freedom, right? At this time of year where it's very clear what is expected of you, right? It's the time of year where there's a lot of pressure, lots of expectations, right? And everyone, you know what? Everyone, whether they realize it or not, is rising in vibration right now. Rising in vibration, whether you realize it or not, because the earth itself, this dimension, this and the realm that we live in, is rising in vibration, right? So one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight is how different everything feels. How different everything feels, and how trying to do the same things you've always done, it just doesn't feel right. Just doesn't feel right, does it? Things don't feel the same. Some things different, whether you can put your finger on it or not. So before we dive into this conversation, I want to go ahead and introduce myself for anybody who may watch this later and doesn't know, who's not familiar with myself or the purpose of this segment. This is Attracting Love Energy. We're on episode 30, you guys. Episode 30, which is so exciting and so significant. I heard a statistic today that over 80% of podcasts fail before the 22nd episode because people just quit. People just quit. Just decide to do otherwise. So this is super duper exciting to be here on episode number 30. Greetings to Franz. Merry Christmas to you as well. Joy from Indonesia. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Greetings, Shanae. Thank you for coming in. My name is Pangea Northstar. I am an energy healer, a sound therapist, a Reiki therapist, an energy reader, a teacher, an attraction coach, and I love to do this segment on Tuesday nights called Attracting Love Energy. And we're always talking about attracting love energy into our lives for the purposes of healing and abundance, self-acceptance. We're attracting love of all kinds using the laws of attraction. Okay, greetings, Miss Universe. All right, so you guys, the frequency of freedom is what we're talking about tonight. And the human spirit is always craving expansion, right? The human spirit craves expansion, right? Because we all have that little piece of source in us, and source is ever expanding, ever expanding. If you look at our galaxy, it is always expanding, right? That is one of the evidences that source is always expanding, right? So for that reason, our spirit craves expansion. Any situation, any scenario that does not allow for expansion, we naturally rebel against that, right? We naturally become frustrated with that, right? So this could be the frustration of a job, for example, that offers limited growth opportunities, limited growth in terms of position or salary, right? limited opportunities for you to use your creativity, limited opportunities for you to learn. That can create frustration on a job, right? This could be a city that you live in that offers you limited cultural experiences, right? Greetings, Alan Kavan. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Merry Christmas to you as well. All right. This could be the frustrating scenario could be a romantic relationship that is only rewarding when you show up just that certain way, only in the way that meets your partner's needs at that very moment. Right? That could be a limitation that you're bumping up against in your relationship. It could be the limitations of your own communication skills or your collective conflict resolution skills, right? That could be a limitation that is frustrating for you in a relationship, okay? But many times we are bumping up against something, we are experiencing frustration because we're actually coming in contact with a limitation of any given scenario, okay? And for many of us who are experiencing a spiritual awakening, this could also be the limitation of your family's traditional beliefs as you begin to expand into something different, right? There could be limitations placed on you by what your family believes, right? You could even be bumping up against the limitations of your own belief system, right? It can be difficult, quite difficult, and even isolating. Hello. Could be very isolating for us when we are having a certain level of spiritual awakening. You're sensing yourself transforming and transitioning into something new while you've always seen yourself in a certain light. It can cause you to begin to judge yourself, right? You can judge yourself based on your old belief system while in the process of expanding into a new belief system, right? That can become a frustration for you, right? That is a form of limitation. You can put those limits on yourself based on your old belief system. Somebody give me some hearts in the chat if that resonates with you. If any of these scenarios is something you have run into in the past or something that you are experiencing now, okay? And I also, along with those hearts in the chat, letting me know that this resonates for you, that you've experienced this, I'm also welcoming your questions. As we know, this is a conversation at Attracting Love Energy every Tuesday night. Yes, I see those hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. Blue Lotus says, yes, that has happened to me. Absolutely. Let me know which types of scenarios have happened to you. Is it family? Is it your job? Is it you placing limitations on yourself and judging yourself by your old beliefs? That can really stunt your growth, right? It can cause a great level of frustration because it's like, man, I'm sensing that there's something more that's here for me to experience. But this box, I'm bumping up against the limitations of this box that is dictated by my old beliefs or the way I've always seen myself, right? Or the way others have always seen me, right? Yes, I'm seeing lots of people saying all the above. I've experienced all the above scenarios. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so, you know, it's very, very common to be frustrated by the limitations of your own self-judgment. And I'm harping on this point a little bit because it's the way we see ourselves that is the most important. But we can very commonly bump up against the limitations of our own self-judgments, which is dictated by the beliefs that you were raised in. As you reach for something that makes more sense to you, as you reach for something that answers many of your questions or more of your questions, as you reach for something that truly resonates with your ever unfolding understanding of who and what you truly are. Yes, yes. And Blue Lotus says, or I can't see what's blocking me. Yes, Absolutely. Okay. And this is so common that we get frustrated here. And when we are growing into something new, and the people that we are surrounded with may not be growing into that same something new, or may not be growing at the same pace, or be at the same part of the journey, and they are supporting or validating the limitations, right? Validating the limitations for us rather than supporting our growth, rather than supporting our exploration, rather than supporting our transition, right? And it can be a very painful process, a very painful process. And I'm glad that we're talking about this at the holidays, because many are not having the same experiences at this time of year that we used to, when our beliefs were in alignment, when our experiences were in alignment with the rest of our families, right? So it can be a pretty painful process when you realize how people that maybe you valued on the basis of who they are, more so than the value of what they do for you or what they believe, when you realize how they are willing to treat you and how they're willing to handle you based on the fact that your belief may no longer be in complete alignment with their beliefs. Give me some hearts if you've experienced this. Yes. Yes. Oh, they're elephants. Somebody said, I love your earrings. What are they? They're elephants. Right? So many times, you know, we're shocked, dismayed, hurt by the way that people are willing to treat us when we kind of step out of line, right? Because what happens is this threatens, it begins to threaten and like trigger those who, it's mostly those who wanted to question the belief, right? Who wanted to question the box, right? Or who maybe at one time did question the box and they got their hand slapped, right? They let somebody run them right back into the box, right? Those are the people that's going to be the most harsh judges of you as you start to, even if you just step one toe outside of the box, right? The people who they themselves have some questions, who they themselves are no longer like truly satisfied by the box, whether it's the box of belief, of tradition, of a career, of a certain mode of relationship, right? A certain way to do relationship. Those who are really not deeply satisfied and getting their needs met, they're going to be the loudest. They're going to be the harshest. They're going to be the cruelest to you. Okay, so keep that in mind as well as you begin to experience some of this. Okay, the ones who are treating you the worst, those are the ones who they themselves actually have some questions that they're afraid to voice, that they're afraid to ask. Okay, let me know if you guys are still able to hear me. Okay, I just made an adjustment to some things in my phone. Let me know if you're still able to hear me. Okay. Okay, and Blue Lotus says you just answered my question. Yes, I see. Is this the question? It's like, how can they sense my shift but not paying attention to their own life? Yes, yes, that's why. That's why. Absolutely. Okay, and thanks for letting me know that you can hear me. But yeah, so it's like they're the loudest, the ones who's actually the least satisfied, but don't have the courage, right? They don't have the courage. It's already been beat out of them. They don't have the courage to ask the questions that you're questioning, right? So it's like when somebody is coming out of the closet, right? Somebody's coming out of the closet saying, "Hey, I'm on the spectrum, somewhere else on the spectrum of sexuality, other than the mainstream heterosexual, whatever." A lot of the people who have the biggest problem with this, the biggest problem with what someone else is doing, is someone who at some point has had some type of question about their own sexuality and has stuffed that down, right? They have gone ahead and decided to go with the flow and allow that to be beat out of them in some kind of way, whether it was physically, emotionally, whatever. Whether religion was used to do it, the people that will try the hardest to keep them inside the lines is the people who also have had these questions for themselves. Okay? So people who have already given over their power and given over their freedom are the people that's going to make it their business to stand in between you and your freedom. Okay? In other words. Now, let's keep going here. Let's go a bit deeper. And if y'all have questions, please keep those questions coming. I love to answer your questions. If need be, we can fill into your energy and see what is going on. So, due to the fact that we are living in a time of rapidly expanding understanding of who and what we truly are, who and what we truly are, we're living in this time when everything around us is rising in vibration. There is very little that seems like solid, right? That seems like locked in, anchored, right? Many times the things that we're reaching for seems to evaporate as we reach for them. Okay. So for example, many people, and I'm not at all personally saying that this doesn't work. I'm not speaking against it, but I'm saying many people are experiencing that going to cognitive therapy, for example, is not as much of a help for them as it maybe was in the past. Or maybe many people are saying that they're not finding it helpful at all. It doesn't seem to be an answer. It doesn't solve the totality of the problem. Okay? Why? Because the misalignment is energetic. The misalignment is energetic. Yes, I see that confirmation in the chat. Where it's like, so doing something like cognitive therapy, and I've said this before, and I'm saying this as a person who is a huge supporter of cognitive therapy. I don't mind telling you, I've done years of cognitive therapy, and it was great for the purpose of putting my problems and my issues in order. Understanding the order in which things happen. This happened because that, because of that, because of this, and this, right? It's as if each issue or thing of import, issue of import in my life, significant moments, being able, if each one was a Polaroid and I was able to lay them out and create a timeline of my life, that's what I mean by like organizes the trauma, right? It's good. It like organizes your trauma. But does it dissipate the energy of that unresolved trauma? No. No. Didn't for me, doesn't for a lot of people, right? And that is why, one of the reasons why, aside from financial gain, but one of the reasons why it's legal and it's accepted practice to just give someone medicine even without cognitive therapy. Because if you think about that, that's wild. Like how do you prescribe a pill without encouraging someone to talk about what's actually bothering them and helping them organize those thoughts and work that out? I don't understand. But that's why it's an accepted practice. It's one of the reasons why it's an accepted practice, because the medication causes you to feel something different, right? It's helping you to actually kind of turning off some of the alarms that are turned on by that blockage in your energy field, okay? Which is just unresolved trauma, okay? So people are also finding, because we're in this time of rapidly expanding understanding, right? A rising in vibration, even praying the same prayers that you used to pray. It's not giving you quite the same, it's not giving you quite that same effect, that same impact that it used to give. I'm just being honest, and this is going to be triggering for some people. I don't really care anymore. I don't care. Okay? Sometimes the frequency of freedom has to be IDGAF. Okay? Sometimes that's the frequency of freedom, right? Because I'm here for people like myself who want that freedom, who want that healing at whatever the cost is of healing, right? And if that means no longer fitting in the box, so be it. Give me some hearts if you know what I'm talking about. I no longer have a need to fit into anybody's box. It's okay. It's okay. This is not going to be for everybody. All right? But there are many people who are being called to something higher and therefore saying the same prayer. Okay? Therefore, doing the same visualization or the same meditation or whatever your old practice was, going to, the same old church service, being given the same interpretation of the same scripture over and over, it's not doing it for you. Be honest. That's the first step to being free. Be honest. It's not hitting the same. It's not. And the reason that you're unable to get out of that loop of, oh, this is bothering me, I'm going to do the same old thing I used to do. Oh, it's really not, it's really not helping me, but I'm going to go back. Now I'm back to my problem. Now I'm going to do the same thing I used to do again. It's just a loop, right? And the reason you're not getting out of it is because you are not being honest with yourself. You are judging yourself about that feeling. You are judging yourself about not getting the satisfaction out of this practice that you've been telling yourself is supposed to be the end all be all. Yes. Talk about that, Blue Lotus. Tell us some more. She said, yes, it's like food. I think I know what you mean, but I want you to expand on that. Tell us what you mean in the comments. But the same thing that used to give you oh so much satisfaction can now leave you feeling quite empty because the energy is no longer here to support only that. We're supposed to be expanding, right? And if you really would take your practice deeper and stop depending on someone else's interpretation of what that practice means or where that practice came from and where that practice can take you, and tap in for yourself, right? When you tap in for yourself, tap into what is Source saying now. What is Source saying now, right? Where is the Spirit leading you now? It's wonderful to know what was being said thousands of years ago. That's great. But at this point, that should be the basics for you. That should be the basics. Nobody should have to tell you, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not sleep with somebody's husband, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's. Listen, you don't have it by now? Like, we don't, seriously, like, we don't have that by now? What is being revealed right now for this time that we live in right now. Nobody in those scriptures has more of a right to access to source than you do. This, and y'all, this is not anything I planned on talking about, but this is where we are right now. What's being said right now at a time when you got drones and unexplained aerial phenomenon in the sky. You got things flying in the sky right now that's also going down into the ocean. And the governments are telling you that, oh, that's not ours. Oh, we don't know what that is. We can't explain it. We can't shoot it down. We can't stop it. So just don't worry about it. You know, just pretend like it's not there. It doesn't seem to be nefarious. You don't think it's time to tap in to what source is telling you for your experience of being here? Come on now. I'm not saying, throw out the old and, just get rid of. I'm not saying that. I'm saying build upon it. Add something to it. Expand upon that. Right? Expand upon that. Why are you so afraid to expand upon that? We cannot get stuck in the old paradigm. We can't get stuck there. The old paradigm was for us to build a foundation upon, not for us to stay with that forever. You don't think your God has said anything new since the last 5,000 years? Come on now. Okay, so let's go back to Blue Lotus's comment, where she said, it's like food. Yeah, I go from one spectrum to the other, the same cycle over and over. I eat really whole and healthy. But then PMS hits and there's the sweets. That's true. That's so true. That is so true. And here's another cycle that I was thinking of with the food also, is that you when you eat really clean and healthy, and then like you said, you go back and get something that you're craving for whatever reason. Men have their hormonal cycles too. But you get something that you're craving, and guess what? It don't even taste like you thought it was going to taste. It's not as satisfying as it used to be, right? Because you actually cleaned out a lot of those toxins that were in your body that was causing it to be so satisfying when you got more of the toxins, right? It's just like, I hate to use this example, but people who have done drugs like crack, I'm gonna say crack. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. Like the white stuff. I don't know if I can say y'all help me. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but the one that they put in the pipe, the rocks. They say they spend the rest of their life chasing that first high. It's not the same after that, right? It's not the same, right? And if you go clean for a while and then you fall, you relapse and go do the stuff again, they say it's not the same because now you've gotten clean, right? And the old toxins that were sitting in your body responding to the new toxins that you bring in when you were doing that, taking in that toxicity on a consistent basis, it's not the same. So your body doesn't react the same, right? So once you've tapped in and you've messed around and crossed that line, and you've tapped into source for yourself, and you've got a fresh download, you got a fresh revelation or a fresh word, as they say in church, and then you try to go back to the stale stuff of just taking somebody's interpretation and trying to make that, make that resonate. It's not the same. Give me some hearts if you know what I'm talking about. It is not the same. Okay? So the frequency of freedom is the frequency of that fresh download, that fresh word, right? That thing that is just for you. That thing that is just for you, that you extracted, right? If you were to go right now into a field of orange trees or a vineyard where they're growing grapes, the grapes that you pick with your own hands are going to be sweeter than the grapes you got at the store. Why? Because you labored, you toiled for that. That is for you, right? So, don't be afraid to create something new, a new paradigm, building on the foundation of what you were told, the foundation that was laid by your family. That's great. Honor that. Say thank you to that old paradigm, right? Thank you for laying down that basic foundation of morality. I know not to go sleep with nobody's husband, right? I know not to go steal from my neighbors. I know not to murder my neighbors. I know not to be jealous of my neighbors. Now, basics done. Check, right? What else can we get out of this lifetime? It, give me some hearts if this resonates. What else can you get out of this experience of being here? There's got to be something deeper. And following the script is not the answer, right? I'm welcoming your questions. If you have questions in the chat, please offer up your questions, okay? If this is anything that you're struggling with, please ask some questions, okay? But many of us, we're struggling with this because we're judging ourselves. And one of the ways you can know if you're judging yourself is this right here. Are y'all ready? Sometimes it's hard to say it. It's hard to be the bearer of this news sometimes. But one of the ways to know if you're judging yourself about a thing is because it's difficult to say the thing out loud. It's difficult to say the thing out loud. It's difficult to tell the truth about it. Okay? So many times we think that someone is lying to us or not being honest with us, but really it's not about us at all. It's not so much, it's not about the fact that they're lying to us. They're really lying to themselves. They're having a difficult time admitting the truth to themselves about a thing. It's hard for them to tell themselves, so no, they can't tell us, right? What is the thing that you find difficult to say out loud to yourself, even when you're alone? What is difficult? What is the difficult truth to tell yourself? Right? I see a statement here. I never know what to ask until after the love. Tell me what you mean by that. Tell me what you mean by that. Okay? So, Shanae's so funny. So, oh, okay, I see. You never know what to ask until after the live. You know how to reach me. You do know how to reach me. And you guys, I'm thinking about it's really on my mind to do some live group readings. If that's something y'all are interested in, just say me in the chat. But I'm wanting to start doing that soon, really soon. It's something I've kind of shied away from because I see people doing it with the tarot cards, and it looks like entertainment to me. And y'all know I'm not an entertainer. I'm here for people that want to grow and want to, who want to grow. I don't like to entertain, I like to teach. So we could do some teaching while, using some cards as tools, right? And doing some live readings, even intuitive readings with or without tools, right? So if that's something, I see a me in the chat. Okay, if that's something you're interested in, let me know. But yes, so back to the subject, the thing that you're judging yourself about is a thing that's difficult to even tell yourself, right? If it's difficult for you to say it out loud, you are judging yourself. You are judging yourself. Okay? Greetings, Zena Electra. Speaking of readings, Zena Electra gives awesome readings. Zena Electra has an awesome channel here on YouTube. Check her out. You guys, we have to lean into the new. We have to drop this judgment of who we are. Some of us, for example, many of us are not finding the traditional marriage paradigm to be, not feeling called to that life. Okay, let's just say it like that. Not feeling called to traditional marriage, not feeling called to even monogamy, maybe not feeling that, hey, my life is not going to be complete unless I, unless two become one, right? That is an old paradigm that is kind of the energy for that is dissipating, right? Because there's so many things that we've been told about, this is, what's supposed to make you complete. This is what's supposed to be a life goal. This is a box you're supposed to check. And that there's something wrong with you if you don't want that, right? But then because the scales are being removed from our eyes, we're kind of looking at those who are on that path and going, I don't know if that looks like something that I want, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If that is not part of your path, then don't let anybody shame you. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you if that has not worked out. Miss Universe says it's outdated. I can't even think of one argument against that. I can't. It's like, nope. And it's about the way that we're being told to partner. We're being told to partner in this very needy, codependent, my identity is not, complete without you. And so many people are deciding to be their own source of abundance, right? That it's time that we learn to tap into our own source of abundance and become our own source of abundance, and to accept the abundance that is here for us as an individual, rather than looking to someone else in the physical to provide abundance for us. We're coming into an understanding that the most important partnership is our partnership with our highest self first, right? Our partnership with our highest self is the most important partnership that we can come into, the most abundant, right? So if you're not feeling called to that, that is okay. That is totally okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I love it. It's 1:11 on Jit's clock. I love it. So you guys, if there are any questions, go ahead and put your questions in here. But we're talking about the frequency of freedom. And if you are wanting to experience more freedom for yourself, here are some things that you can do, right? And we've talked about dropping judgment of yourself. Some things you can play around with is imagining that there are no wrong decisions, right? Many of us are painting ourselves into this like black and white box, this black and white corner. It's either this or that. We have a very this or that attitude about life. And that is not a very loving, not a very spacious, a very gracious way to deal with yourself, right? So let us imagine that all paths lead to freedom. So you can allow the fear of choosing a path other than the socially accepted path. Allow that fear to dissipate and just make a choice. Just explore, right? Explore, expand, right? That it's totally okay. Okay? Practice imagining that every potential path leads to freedom. The freedom of expansion, expansion into becoming your highest self. Okay? Partnering with your highest self to become your highest self. Okay? Now, the energy of this is going to lie in balancing your heart chakra, right? Because the heart chakra is about that abundance of choice and think about it, having a lot of choices in your life, it does create the feeling of freedom, the feeling of wealth, right? Being wealthy is about waking up and having a bunch of choices about what you want to do with your day. Not about, oh, well, I must go and report in here so I can pay these bills, right? That's the word you shouldn't be allowed to say on YouTube. bills. Dirty. Right? So, feeling wealthy is about having choices, right? So lean into the energy of the heart chakra where there is abundance, there's self-acceptance, so acceptance of any desires that you may have for yourself that are kind of like off the beaten path or things you've had to stuff because they weren't accepted, right? And trust yourself. See, when we push down our natural desires, it's because we're telling ourselves and we're going back into the script that says you are naturally bad. You are not a good person. You are I can't even think of it, but there's some scriptures that talk about like being born in sin and your righteousness is like filthy rags and all that stuff. I'm just saying, nope. That one don't resonate. I'm sorry. And again, there's these old paradigms that, we've been taught and that we continue to lean on because that's what everybody's leaning on and it seems to be right. But we've been told time and time again that, scriptures have been manipulated and changed and rewritten and misinterpreted and all these things. But we're still afraid to ask ourselves when we're sitting there reading it, does this resonate with me? Is this in alignment? Is this in alignment with a loving, merciful, accepting God? We're still afraid to ask ourselves, does that resonate? Right. Zena says it, that you're being told you're wrong, you're evil, and a sinner. And if you believe that that's the truth of who you are, that it's real easy to shame and stuff and oppress and repress things that come up for you in your spirit. When you're like, this doesn't feel right to me. This feels more natural to me, or that feels more natural to me. Now, if you truly believe that you're really a sinner and that you're evil and that that's your true nature, then, you're going to start bashing yourself on the inside. Oh, there goes that old sinner again. There goes that old evil, the real me. The one I got to crush, the one I got to kill. right? So work with that heart chakra. I also want you to work with balancing the third eye, because the third eye is about seeing all potential pathways, potentialities of timelines, seeing into the quantum. That this is where we are imagining that all paths lead to freedom, that all paths lead us back to source, right? We can't be so hard, black and white with these black and white lines and these judgments. Okay? Anybody that's on here, anybody that's listening and that is drawn to the sound of my voice, you are not an evil sinner. That is not your true nature. It's just not. Okay? You can take a deep breath. Okay? You are good. You are loved. You is smart. You is important. What they say on the movies. On the help. You're a good person. Seriously, you're a good person. If you rocking with us on this segment right here, you're a good person. Straight up. That's just what it is. Okay? So lean into that heart chakra energy, that love, that compassionate love, that compassion for yourself, that self-acceptance, which leads you to abundance, which leads you to be able to stop judging yourself and stop judging others so harshly. See, we're going to get that freedom for ourselves when we stop holding others captive. When you're holding yourself captive to this dogma, to this rhetoric, to this whatever, the stringent system of beliefs, then you're also tempted to hold other people to that too. And you're like judging them and giving them the side eye, the same side eye you're giving yourself, really. Right? So once you release judging yourself also harshly and begin giving yourself compassion and love and acceptance, it's so easy to do the same for others. It's so easy. It becomes so easy to do the same for others, to release them and encourage them to explore what feels right, what feels natural to them and who they are and expressing who they are. Okay? So our entire reality is rising into these higher planes of existence. And if we want to go to, if we want to exist in this higher plane of existence, we cannot hold fast to old paradigms that have taken beautiful truths and smashed a bunch of hate and judgment and dogma on top of it. Okay? So last call for questions. Last call for questions before we begin to wrap up. Okay? Also, put me in the chat if you are interested in open group readings, which I'm wanting to begin doing for 2025. I'm gonna start doing that. Start doing some group readings. It's on my heart to share in that way. Okay, and they're gonna be some free ones for sure. Absolutely. Okay, I see another me. There'll be some free ones. Awesome. Okay, and thank you all so much. Thank you for all the love in the chats, for all the laughs tonight. Y'all are awesome. Thanks for letting me know this is resonating with you all. Okay, and please do not be afraid. Spirit is asking now, what do we want to create? Where do we want to go? Right? We do not have to stay locked into old paradigms and keep looking to the old, looking to the past to create our future. Right? It's time to create something new, something fresh. Right? Okay. All right. Well, I love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Have a wonderful night. Enjoy the holiday. I know many may not necessarily celebrate Christmas as it were. However, enjoy some family, enjoy some friends, right? Enjoy some peace, enjoy some solitude, enjoy some love, right? Enjoy sharing some good times with others. Things are changing all around us, and we don't know what the state of things will be this time next year, 2025, right? We don't know. So enjoy the ones that you love. Enjoy the ones that you love, right? And if you want your loved ones to experience the freedom that you are now experiencing in your soul, pushing them away and acting stink the way they do, it's not how that's going to happen, right? So if they're harmful and toxic for you, then okay, I get it. But other than that, if you can enjoy some love and peace and some fellowship with your family, please do so. Enjoy those who are enjoyable. Okay? Happy holidays. Love you all. All right. See you next time. Peace.